Erica Jenkins faces a murder and weapons charge in the case. Her sister, Lori Sales, is charged as an accessory. Prosecutors say she got rid of the murder weapon. Nico's uncle, Warren Levering, is charged as an accessory in the murder of Andrea Kruger. Prosecutors say he was there the night of the murder and helped get rid of Kruger's car and tried to set it on fire. A look at the Jenkins family tree shows felons in just 2 generations, including Nico's late father, 2 other uncles, a cousin, and sister.
I think it came out in the evidence that it was all about Erica and her motive.
That evidence was difficult for Bradford's mother to hear, but she's thankful it was revealed.
Thank you to those witnesses, because that wasn't an easy task for them to do what they did.
Now, a year and a half later, she's walking out of this courthouse for good, still in pain, but for the first time, with closure.
God take care of the rest of us. Justice was served.
This is Valita Glasgow, just moments after learning a jury found Erica Jenkins guilty of murdering her son, Curtis Bradford. It's a pain most can't imagine, but behind this pain is something Valita's been searching for since the death: closure and answers.
I got a lot of answers to a lot of questions. Only one remains, and I just have to leave that be. Let God take care of me.
Valita is now looking to God after she says justice was served. The state's major key witnesses over the past week, all family of Erica Jenkins, sisters Lori and Melanie, and a cousin, Brian Sterling. Each testified against her, saying she discussed the murder with them.
Well, Erica Jenkins is the first of the Jenkins family to be sentenced to prison time in Douglas County District Court. Judge Peter Battalion ordered her to spend at least 4 decades in prison for robbery. A jury convicted her of luring Jorge Ruiz and Juan Pena to Spring Lake Park to rob them when her brother Nico blasted them in the heads with a shotgun. In court, Erica said Nico killed them for his sacrifices, but their cousin, Christine Bordeaux, wanted to rob them. She went on to say, quote, "I feel like I'm being targeted, and I feel like you're trying to make an example of me because I'm the first to be sentenced out of all this."
It's just an ongoing saga that we'll deal with, and we'll get them held accountable and responsible for this, and make sure that the people of Douglas County are protected from individuals like that.
Jenkins said there's a conspiracy against her family, including her brother. She blamed the Department of Corrections for Nico's killing spree, saying, quote, "They made him who he is. He's their Frankenstein." Judge Battalion said the crimes are some of the most brutal that his court is aware of.
You heard her. It's the Department of Corrections' fault. It's everybody else's fault, and she takes no responsibility for actions.
The sentencing was moved forward after Jenkins allegedly assaulted 2 female guards at the jail on Tuesday, bringing the number of alleged attacks to more than 6. Jenkins said, quote, "I'm ready to go to prison because I'm having problems in the county jail because the guards keep jumping me."
She's cost Douglas County a lot in a lot of ways. I mean, it's just difficult to maintain her here. She obviously doesn't want to be here, so we'll let her start her sentence, and then we'll bring her back for these other cases.
In another surprising revelation, the judge allows Erica Jenkins to represent herself in the Curtis Bradford murder trial and her conspiracy trial in the murder of Andrea Kruger. Both are scheduled for January. Reporting live, Jake Wazakowski, KMTV Action 3 News.
You could say Nico Jenkins and his relatives have had a colorful past. Just look at their family tree. 7 felons in just 2 generations. Let's start with Nico's uncle, 51-year-old Warren Levering. He's a felon just released from prison in Oklahoma and has done time in Nebraska, too. Investigators say he's fathered 7 children with 6 different women in 5 states. This week, prosecutors charged him as an accessory in the murder of Andrea Kruger. They say he helped Nico get rid of Kruger's car and tried to set it on fire near 43rd and Charles.
Levering pleads no contest to amended charges of accessory to murder and attempted robbery. He's sentenced to 40 years, but with good time, he'll be out in about 17 and a half. On August 21st, 2013, Levering, Nico Jenkins, his sister Erica, and their cousin Christine Bordeaux went to West Omaha because Nico wanted to steal a car. Jenkins murdered Andrea Kruger at 168th and Fort. He and Warren then stole her SUV. Warren was caught on surveillance setting her SUV on fire in an alley near 43rd and Hamilton.
Prosecutors say Levering got the gas can from his sister's house, Nico Jenkins' mother, Lori. Lori just bonded out of jail herself this week on an unrelated felony terroristic threats charge. In addition to Levering, Lori has 2 other brothers. Both are convicted felons. One is even currently on parole. Investigators say Lori Jenkins had 6 children with David McGee but never married him. McGee died in 2009 but was a felon himself, convicted of terroristic threats. Of the couple's 6 kids, 4 have been arrested in the past month. 23-year-old Erica Jenkins is a convicted felon, now facing murder and weapons charges in the death of Curtis Bradford. Friday, she told Judge Caniglia she can't be a killer because she's 3 months pregnant. Investigators say she has a 7-year-old son, too, that initially was placed in child protective custody. Erica's little sister, 18-year-old Lori Sales, known as Lolo, is charged in Bradford's murder, too. Prosecutors say she got rid of the murder weapon. A third sister, Melanie, also a convicted felon, bailed out of jail last week on unrelated terroristic threats charges. She's 25, and investigators say she has 3 children under the age of 7, and all were initially placed in child protective custody. As for Nico Jenkins, he was just released from prison before prosecutors say he shot and killed 4 people. He's 27 years old and legally married to 22-year-old Shalonda Jenkins, seen here in a recent interview, and told us she's pregnant with Nico's child. Nico has 2 other sisters, both live out of state, and neither are in much contact with the Omaha Jenkins. A broad look at the ties to one man, a man prosecutors say has uprooted 4 other families.
We're pleased with that result. It puts an end to this groups, all the things that happened with in that several weeks where they pretty much terrorized and murdered 4 people in Omaha.
Levering will be in his 70s by the time he gets out of prison. This is Lori Jenkins in Douglas County Court. Today, Judge Lori Smithcamp sentenced her to 10 years in prison on each count of felon in possession of ammo. They will run at the same time, so with time served, she'll be in federal prison for about 7.5 years. The federal judge heard testimony from investigators on how Lori made statements to family that she knew her son was killing people and that she bought the ammo that ended up in his hands. Shotgun slugs from Canfield's and later 9mm bullets from Saul's just hours before they were used to kill Andrea Kruger.
Disappointed, yes, but I need to emphasize really that she also expressed to me over and over and over again the remorse she had for the victims and their respective families.
Judge Smithcamp said no matter how the ammo got into Nico's hands, his mother was responsible. Federal sentencing guidelines allowed the court to consider how those bullets were ultimately used in the killing spree and not just the fact that she was a felon who bought them.
I think it weighed heavily on the sentence. I mean, it weighs heavily on all of us that are involved in this case. This was I don't need to tell you, this was a terrible, heinous crime, series of crimes, and that afflicted our community.
In her words, Jenkins was able to tell her story for the first time ever. Quote, "I never got rid of evidence for anyone. I didn't buy ammunitions for Nico Jenkins. I've never let anyone use my guns. I have them for my own protection." She said the ammo was for her protection and Nico's girlfriends actually gave him the bullets and shells. Lori went on to say, quote, "I'm sorry for all the victims. I'm sorry for everything, but I confess my sin. I am not responsible for his actions. The only thing that links me to this is that he is my son." District Court Judge Peter Battalion found Jenkins competent to move forward towards the death penalty phase of this case. His attorney Tom Riley wanted to have him reevaluated by their doctor again, but Jenkins said he wouldn't cooperate. The judge also ordered that Riley stay as Jenkins' defense counsel, though the defendant wanted his attorney dismissed again. Jenkins even challenged the judge on multiple occasions, saying he'd filed litigation against Judge Battalion.
You could tell in the courtroom that there's a lot of frustration from the court's perspective, obviously from our perspective, even defense counsel's perspective.
Last year, Jenkins pleaded no contest to the murders of Andrea Kruger, Curtis Bradford, Jorge Ruiz, and Juan Pena. Did the siblings pull the trigger on Curtis Bradford, or was it solely Nico Jenkins? A jury will decide the first-degree murder case against 24-year-old Erica Jenkins, his sister. August 19, 2013, Bradford was found dead with a shotgun wound to the head next to a garage near 18th and Clark. Today, their siblings, Lori, Lolo Sales, and Melanie Jenkins, testified for the state. Lolo said she rode with Erica, Nico, and Curtis. The three got out of the car, and 45 seconds later, Lolo heard a gunshot. She testified 15 seconds after that, another. Quote, "That's when I heard a boom and saw a flash in the rear view. That's when I got startled and got out of the car." Bradford did not return.
She's close. It's a tough situation. You know, it's very, very difficult being able to, have a home life, but at the same time, she's, has information that incriminates family members, and she's doing her civic duty and doing the right thing by coming forward and testifying.
Sales also testified Erica was upset Nico shot Bradford after she had pulled the trigger. The defense went after inconsistencies in Lolo's story about whether she actually saw Erica with a gun. Prosecutors say Nico had a sawed-off shotgun, Erica had her revolver, and Bradford had an unloaded assault rifle. Brian Easterling, a cousin of the siblings, testified Erica and Nico came to his house after Bradford's murder. Quote, "He was excited. He's proceeding to clean the gun off. I saw blood and brain fragments on the assault rifle. He's holding it in the shower. He's washing it off." Erica also apparently was excited but disappointed. Quote, "She stated that this was her first murder and she expressed her frustrations on Nico shooting Curtis after she did. It was like him taking claim on her first kill." The defense questioned why Easterling would let Nico continue to live with him after knowing he was murdering people around Omaha. Judge Peter Battalion says there's no doubt that Lori Jenkins helped get rid of evidence after the Spring Lake Park murders. She's convicted of getting rid of Christine Bordeaux's clothing and wallets of the victims, Jorge Ruiz and Juan Pena. She's also responsible for lying to investigators about buying ammunition that was ultimately used in Nico's killing spree.
We had statements that she gave to the police that were video recorded, and then when she testified in trial, that was much different than what she had told the police in some regards. So I think, yeah, her statement changed depending on where she was at.
It wasn't unexpected. The evidence as it went in was not favorable to my client, obviously. There are clearly questions as to what actually transpired, but I was not surprised, no.
Jenkins wouldn't plead guilty to one accessory count to have the other two dismissed, saying if you're not guilty, don't take the plea. After the verdict, she had some choice words.
No evidence, injustice, completely malicious prosecution.
Jenkins was also accused of giving a gas can to Warren Levering after the Andrea Kruger murder so they could burn her SUV. The judge found her not guilty on that count because she didn't know what the gas can was being used for. She was told Nico and the other relatives were out of gas.
It was a tough case for the state, and they did a good job on convicting her, obviously, on 2 of the 3 counts. And we'll have to live with the verdict and see what we do down the line.